Sounds good. Awesome. Let us know when you're ready to go, Alex.
Make sure.
Hello, everyone, and welcome back to ejuices.com live. Today, I have with me Gary from Mr. Good Vape, and we have a ton in store for you guys. I know that you guys love these Ask the Juice Maker segments where you have an opportunity to ask manufacturers everything from their branding strategies to their actual manufacturing processes and more. So it's a treat that we get to speak to these people, and it's a treat that we get to speak to Gary because he has actually been around forever, one of the first mainstream brands to come out, and we're going to get into that in just a moment. But you guys, we also have an amazing giveaway tonight. 5 lucky winners are going to get a whole lot of e-juice and a sick bobblehead on top of that, which, Gary's going to pull it up for us in a minute. Check out that awesome bobblehead, you guys. You're going to get one of those, and you're going to get a ton of e-juice on top of that. So go ahead and check out that link in the description below underneath this video. So Gary, thank you for coming on. Welcome to the show. Why don't you tell us a little bit about Mr. Good Vapes? You know, you've been around since, I believe we spoke earlier, you said around really 2011, 2012-ish, and the industry has changed so much since then. So why don't you tell us a little bit about what it used to be like back then versus what it's like now in 2018?
Well, so Mr. Good Vape was essentially, we started in 2011 and officially in 2012. Back then when I started with V2 Cigalikes, like with my buddy Mike Christian, because we smoked about a pack and a half a day, and we were like, we got to quit. And so we just took our money, which is a lot back then. I think we paid like $200 a kit for like, and so it was sort of, we committed to ourselves to, by putting that much money forward, to actually stop smoking. So back then it was really, really hard to essentially acquire vape products. And you had to go online to e-cigarette forums and try to figure out which was what, and, what should I use? And so, we ended up doing I did a V2 kit, he did a blue kit. And then after we started, and that worked for us, then we sort of, I'd say, get into like more of the vaping community. And so we went and I'll actually show you, that's my first mod, so this is the first mod that I had. I got into Pink Spot.
Wow.
Liquids. And so back then it was very, how do I put this? It wasn't cool. It wasn't a trend back then. But it was exciting because for the first time back then, people were really, really excited that they were able to quit smoking. It wasn't about, being cool. It was about like, wow, this worked. It tastes good. It was cheaper than cigarettes, and it was, it's an exciting time back then. So I think it's a lot. Back then, I think vaping was so new, but it had more of a heart. I think it had, it was a community about this. It wasn't like, what you vaped, or, it was about essentially helping each other quit, and then just teaching people, because everybody back then didn't know what it was. And so, it was, compared to now, it was very exciting. And I think that as a whole, vaping had a better look back then, I should say, but that's compared to now, it's nothing like it is now. At all. From a juice standpoint, juice maker standpoint, a brand owner standpoint, it's night and day.
I can imagine. It's, just if you look at like regular technology and how that's advanced from 6 or 7 years ago to now, and then you add the fact that there's this entire industry that kind of popped up and has been progressing since then, I can imagine how, and especially like you said, back then, it's like, like back then it was like, it wasn't about what you were vaping, it was about like just the fact that you were vaping. So I think that that's crazy that it's expanded the way that it has. So
the funny part is that, so now mods are so like, everybody's used to seeing mods and this and that. So imagine people smoking a cigarette and then you're walking around with this thing. You know what I'm saying? Like
yeah.
My friends back, they would say, "Oh, what are you holding your, like little sexual terms?" But I don't know. I actually enjoyed vaping over smoking, just because the fact that I was able to just interact with so many people. I mean, you walked outside with this thing and, you're vaping at, a bar or something like that. It really opened up a lot of conversations, and I actually help people get into vaping a lot just from, letting them try this little guy or big guy, as you say.
I believe it. I mean, like, and it's funny to think that even back then, when it was like this big long thing that then people weren't using it, that people were like, yeah, sure, I'll give it a try. And nowadays we've got people who are still like weary about it, even with the technology that we do have, which is so funny to me, probably because it was so new back then. And now people are like, oh, well, there's everything. There's everything out there. Like, I'll try give me the starter kit, So listen, we're gonna get into how Gary, started Mr. Good Vape and how this company started from where it was and has grown to where it is today. And Gary's got some really great stuff in the works as well, you guys. So we're gonna go over that in just a second. But first, I'm gonna go ahead and roll that intro. And we are back. And for those of you who are just tuning in, I am Tina, the ejuices.com social media guru, and I am here with Gary from Mr. Good Vape, or Mr. Good Vape himself, who's been kind of regaling us a little bit about the industry when he kind of started vaping and started the brand, which was back in 2012, versus nowadays in 2018. But Gary, I would love to hear about what was your motivation for starting the brand, especially in such a new market where it sounds like I believe you said that you were one of the first top 5 premium retail brands available in vaping, correct?
For mainstream, but there's other brands available.
Mainstream, yeah.
Yeah, like mainstream, like actual recognizable brands. I mean, there's even back then there was wonderful juice makers, very talented juice makers. That I got to, actually try. I mean, for instance, I don't know if you're going way back, but one of the best e-juices back then that I tried was Grant's Custard. Have you had that?
Oh, yes. Yes, I have. And custard is like a very specific, like, it's a very, very, you need to be careful when you're doing custard, but I've tried that one. That's old school.
I had to wait 2 months to get it at a waiting list.
Wow.
I had a guy in the UK that actually sent me like 10 mils of it that was like left over before I said, here, try this, buddy. And like, he sent it over to me and I tried. Yeah, that was one of the very first e-juices that I was like, wow, this is amazing, So I mean, so how Good Vape started, it's a lot. I can't really compare to how people would start a brand now because there wasn't, I'm saying there wasn't a lot of competition. But how it started was, like I said, my buddy Michael, Christian, and I were the ones that started vaping in our group, And after that started, I've always been into the internet stores and, trying to do e-commerce stuff. And I thought of, a brand called Mr. Good Vape, and I bought the URL. And this was prior to even putting all this stuff together. And so I always had this dream of starting Mr. Good Vape. And it wasn't about actually being an e-liquid company. I wanted it to be an actual retail store and then go to distribution because there really wasn't any of that around. And so at the time, what happened is I went with my previous partner, Chris, and he had a hookup, which was Sharn from Vape Revolution. And we went down there because Chris was going to have me talk to Sharn about drop shipping from Vape Revolution as I started the brand because I didn't have any money really, And so we went down there and Sharn's like, well, what about starting your own e-liquid brand? And, I'll carry you. And he was like the only guy out really in Southern California, Vape Revolution, and it was an honor to be carried there. So what we did, we said, of course. And so my wife and I put literally our savings, because at the time I got laid off of work and it was a really tough time for me. And we put $2,500 of pretty much our savings to start Mr. Good Vape. And we ordered everything from Capella. And that's how the e-juice sort of started, or my passion for e-juice started. And it's a lot different now. I mean, you can see my lab behind me. It went from me literally going and counting drops with my partner, like 3 drops of this, 4 drops of this. And we would actually have to do the math and convert how many drops it was to do both batches. And once we launched the brand, or started having the flavors, you know, Mr. Vape, to me, like the whole vision was just to start a community brand, like something that's fun, you know, something that portrayed the fun side of vaping, which is like, you know, very in your face flavors, creative flavors. I never wanted to, you know, just copy other people. Like, you know, like now they're like, oh, I'm going to do the taffy. I'm going to do this. I'm going to take this candy and replicate it. It was nothing about that. We wanted to make our own signature flavors. And that's why we have brand names like Moon Sugar, Melon Head, because those formulations were our formulations. You know, we didn't think that the industry was going to be pumping out, you know, one after another with e-liquids. We wanted to build a brand with a following that people could trust our brand. They know our flavors. We built, you know, we always use the best extracts available, you know, and we had the theme that for Mr. Good Vape was, it's funny, is the godfather of vaping. And that was just something that I thought of on the way home. I'm like, what do you think about the godfather of vaping? Like, oh, perfect, you know?
That's
so
pretty awesome. Yeah.
I have a trademark.
He's going to make you an offer that you can't refuse, right?
And then I think our other one was made by connoisseurs for connoisseurs is trademarked as well for us. But you know, so that's essentially in a nutshell how we started Mr. Good Vape. And the actual graphic on here, which is this little guy right there, my buddy Ivan and I actually created that logo together on his laptop. And original one, we just did it, recreated it real quick before I actually drew it by hand, because I draw a lot of characters. That's what I do for art. I draw all cartoons and all this stuff. And
is that why the label's all cartoony and stuff like that? Or when it started?
It's actually like a pop art. Like it's like more of a pop art. It's you know, that's why I made it sort of like for me. I like pop art, like where like it's very recognizable. And for me, it was like I want, like, you know, like you drive by Bob's Big Boy, right? And you know that if you look at the statue, that's Bob's Big Boy, right? Or you look at other brands like the Swoosh from Nike, right? I wanted a logo that people would see and go, oh, that's Mr. Good Vape, you know? And I do like this logo. I might be thinking about, I have another design as well where it's not the face, it's like an actual like tuxedo with like little rose on it. We might change that.
Oh, that's cool.
The reason being is that, you know, I know it's pop art, but I also think that it might be a good move for you know, the industry in itself. And I don't mind, you know, taking that off personally. So that's probably our next move. They're already registered and everything to go, but that's what I'll be doing. So, but yeah, Mr. Good Vape just took off like fast, like to the point where I had to get my buddies had to lend me money to fill the POs.
Wow. So you were not expecting it to go at the level that it did when it initially launched?
No.
Nowhere close.
No, I'm not one of those guys. I knew it was going to happen. Like, every PO was like exciting for me. Oh, $2,300. Oh, this, oh, that. Like, it was never planned. Like, I had no clue that I would be sitting here today in a house that I bought from vaping products. Like, you know, like it had nothing to do with that. Like, we were lucky, right time, right place. You know, and the flavors that we made were really good, you know, surprised because we didn't really know what we were doing in 2012. Like it was, you know, I'm not going to say I was a master mixologist back then. It was a lot of trial and error, you know, and, you know, getting people's opinions. So that's
but the best things in life are, and clearly, obviously, trial and error led you somewhere. So, you know, I think it's the people that do know exactly what they're doing, that they are so confident, that tend to be the most surprised when it's not as successful, versus the people who are kind of humble and not really expecting it, and then boom, you've got an avalanche right there.
The reason why Good Vape is so, to me, like I love Mr. Good Vape. That's like, to me, it's like my baby, you know, like and I think that's why the brand is, you know, survived for so long, is because, I mean, well, I took a break for a couple of years too, and then I got back. That's why you're seeing us now again. I got back into Good Vape, but I love my brand, you know, like I love Mr. Good Vape, and it's not the money, it's nothing. Because I mean, I've had times where I don't pay myself at all. Like right now, I'm not even paying myself since the launch. We're putting everything back into the company, but the community behind Mr. Good Vape is what I love. And if you can, you know, you go to Facebook and see my followers. I mean, I have friends from around the world just because of this brand, and you know, it's so community oriented still, and that the brand itself has like a cult following. And like, it's really odd because when I didn't take a break, I didn't even realize it, until I
Yeah.
took breaks. Like, where's Moon Sugar? Where's Dabble Dio? Where's Sunday Fun Day? Where's this? I want this. And I'm like, I don't even remember what the original taste was like, but I couldn't make it. So, that's Good Vape to me, is I think it's just a community-based brand, and I've never strayed from that. And even growing, I mean, you don't see topless models holding my juice bottles. I don't use sex to sell my business.
Yeah, the ploys,
I don't need that. For me, I'm the brand. I want to reflect, and I want to work hard to make my followers happy, because without them, I'm nothing at all. And I mean, that's really, I don't know where to go from here, but I guess that's Good Vape to me.
Well, I think that's a great place. I know exactly where to go from here because we actually, I know, in our previous discussions and stuff, you mentioned that, that you guys utilized Facebook kind of as your main way to reach out to people, and that your marketing strategy, not that you don't even really have marketing, that you have more of like a grassroots approach to how you gained the followers that you did, and how you continue to kind of gain those. So I would love to hear about that personally, because I know in the vape industry, Instagram is like a huge pull for people, because the aesthetic, and, you've got the lifestyle photos and the mods and the hand checks. But you're the first person who's ever said to me that they mainly use Facebook as their way to communicate with people and showcase their items. So I'd love to hear a little bit more about that.
The reason why I use Facebook is there's a couple. I mean, so I handle all my social media now. Like, before, I had somebody do it. Now, since the relaunch, I said, you know what? Let me do Facebook, and let me do social media, because nobody could represent my brand the way that I want to except myself, right? And I didn't want to go in here and just take photos of like an e-juice next to a rock, or I'm saying, or have a chick with just shoving a e-juice bottle right here. I mean, that doesn't represent vaping to me one bit. I don't like it. You know what I'm saying? That's
sideways leaning casually.
I'm saying I'm not going to buy an e-juice anything or a vaping thing because a model's holding it. To me, that's just, I don't know. I don't want to say it, but it's sort of trashy in my opinion. I'm just saying that because I think that, I'm not saying vape models are not beautiful, and some are very classy and do it right, but some of the stuff I'm blown away by it. So for what I'm saying, so for Mr. Good Vape, Instagram is good. Don't get me wrong. We have about 40,000 followers. It ranges around 37, 40, 42. It just falls in there. I don't purchase followers. I don't believe in that, because number one, I feel like I'm misleading the people, because if they see something with 200,000 followers and they're not real followers, it's just misleading. The brand seem bigger than it is, and I can't directly reach out to these people, because I want to be like, okay, look, I put it up and I got 300 likes. I put it up and I got 7 likes. What's really going on? Because I'm not paying for likes either. I don't put up a photo and all of a sudden 1,200 likes appear. That to me, it's misleading. So the Instagram, what I use is just for reposts. So if you do something for Mr. Good Vape and you tag Mr. Good Vape, I'll go on there and I'll repost it. And that's where I repost stuff. Or if I'm, like for instance, the show, I put Instagram because it went there, and then it went to my Facebook. But so Facebook's really important to me because I like to talk directly to my followers, and Facebook gives me the platform to do so. I'm able to sit there and for instance, I have a guy that I've never met in real life, that's Sean. I'm saying, I post something, he writes in there, I talk to him, I get to know him, I private message him. Anybody that actually interacts on my page, I'll send them a coupon, like an actual. So I don't do get so somebody really puts a lot of effort in there. I'll give out lifetime coupons for 55% off, like my stuff. And the reason I do this is because if you're going to go ahead and you're going to interact with me, right, and you're going in there and you're commenting, you're putting forth effort on my page, I will reward those people. I will not reward people just because of a giveaway where they go and they flood everybody's pages with giveaways and all this other stuff. I don't believe in that. So the Facebook thing is rad to me because I have my personal Facebook page on there too. So if I'm friends with the people over there, then I actually invite them over to my personal Facebook page. And so then it's everything. I got to approve everybody, but then I have them a part of my life. And so so on Facebook as well, I like it because I feel like the people on there are more my style, are more like a more community vapor, like somebody that's just like a normal person, like a mom or a mechanic or stay-at-home dad, or what I'm saying, like
Yeah.
it's more family
Less
oriented.
aesthetic, more community, right?
Exactly. And
Yeah.
my brand is all about community. That's period. That's why I do this. It's not, has nothing to do with anything else, because like I said, I haven't paid myself for Michigan Vape in 7 months building this brand back up. So I do this out of love no matter what. Like, this is what I do. And so Facebook also allows me to post more personal stuff. Like, if you go on my page, it's not all about here's a bottle next to this, here's a bottle next to this. It's, look, I just got a 1997 Bass tractor boat that my grandparents gave me. I just
Yeah.
restored it, or I have a massive amount of animals. I don't know if you watch my other stuff, but I post pictures. I have 2 bearded dragons, I have 2 hairless cats, I have 2 puppies, I have a snake, and I have 9 chickens.
I
So,
want to hear about the bearded dragons. That is so. What are their names?
my son names them. He's 4, and so the white one is a female. It's a 0, so it's 100% hypo 0. That's the genetics of it, and it's named Ghostbuster.
I love it. The 4-year-old naming
It's
bearded
named
dragons. I love
Ghostbuster.
it. Ghostbuster.
And my other one, I'm still waiting for him to name it, so it's still Bearded Dragon. So
Oh,
that's
Ghostbuster and bearded dragon. I like it.
pretty.
It's cooler than most people's pets. I have a dog. I think that's it. Maybe I had a goldfish like a year ago that died after 3 weeks. So I'm not, but I love animals. Don't get me wrong. But bearded dragons. Wait, so okay, so you got 2 puppies, 2 cats, 2 bearded dragons, a snake.
Yeah.
Wow, big animal lover then.
And the funny thing is, if I also have in my garage, I have there's my food I breed for my bearded dragons, which is they're dubia roaches. So I actually have a roach colony in my garage where it's a little, they're like in like bins.
One of those like,
yeah, well, they can't climb. Dubia roaches can't climb, so they don't stink like crickets, but I feed them all organic food. I gut load them, so they're all like really healthy, and then I feed what I make in there, then I feed them to my bearded dragon. So I take care of them like very well. I'm an animal guy and a reptile guy. I mean, like I said, my snake's right over there. So
we have a reptile guy here that we work with. He's got like, I don't even know, like 20, 30 snakes or something crazy. And he's always talking about his snakes in our meetings and how much he loves him and stuff. And it's just so funny. You sound exactly like him.
It's beautiful. Like, I tell you, animals to me are like, I've always been an animal guy and reptile. Before I actually did Good Vape, I had my own, I was breeding chameleons. So I had a room that was probably bigger than this. It was like a game room, and I had, I think, 40 cages in there, and it was all set up to mimic their environment of Madagascar. So I had, it was insane. And I bred them and I was successful with it, but I had to stop doing that when I started Good Vape, because chameleons, you have to be there at all times. Like, you let somebody come in there and take care of them for you, they'll be dead when you get back, because
really,
yeah, because I mean, the heat, they're sensitive to heat. You got to clean their cages like all the time. I had everything on timers, and for instance, if I ran out of water, I used to do my own RO water. So if I ran out of water, I would have like 10-gallon buckets. And so everything would run in there, and so I'd have to make sure that was good. And if they ran out of water, they're done,
Yeah.
So yeah, I had it all.
Gosh.
I had over, I think, with babies, like 2 to 300 chameleons.
That's insane. I always end up asking people whenever they're on the show, I'm like, what did you do before vaping? And it's always like different answers. They're like, oh, I was in mortgages. Oh, I was a, paleontologist. Oh, I raised chameleons, like, and breeded them. And it's crazy. And I think that ties it back to the community aspect very well, that like literally no matter what you do or like where you come from, this is definitely unifying in the sense that, I mean, like, you guys all have the same passion in common, but where you came from is totally different places. So I think that's awesome. I think for all the animal lovers out there, we had someone in the chat ask what kind of snake and what kind of dogs.
So I have my big boy is Cupid, and he is a half bulldog, pit mix, and he's big, like 80 pounds. He's the biggest baby that I have.
And his name is Cupid. That's so.
Because he has a heart on his nose. So I'll bring him in later.
Oh my God. Okay. I'm so excited.
And then I have a Springer Spaniel, which is a puppy. And she's probably playing out there because they literally Springer Spaniel, springing the legs all the time. I have a ball python, and it's up there, and it's a I forgot what it's called. It's a champagne. I don't know. I'm not too. I'll remember in a second. But
some cool name.
Yeah, it's a cross. It's like 3. I'll bring her out or him out, and then I have my bearded dragons. One is a 0. The other one's 100% hypo tiger or citrus tiger. And those are like my babies. I got them for my son to like have like an activity with me every day.
Yeah.
I ended up taking it over because he doesn't like to clean the cages. And so, but I'm going to breed those. That's what I'm thinking about doing, just for him, to show him the whole process, and, pretty much pay for the animals themselves. Because I spend about, while I'm doing my dubia roach colony, I spend about $100 a month on just roaches, because I feed them the very best stuff. I don't feed them. I feed them crickets occasionally, but I don't like crickets. They stink. And then I have 2 hairless cats. So.
Oh, okay. That's cool. That's awesome. Hairless. I am allergic to cats, but I think I can do hairless.
Yeah, you can do those. I can't handle cats either. So, the dander. So,
yeah. The dander is just like too much. So we got some questions in the live chat, but before I get into those, what everybody's asking you, I'm just going to reiterate our giveaway real quick, since we had a couple of people pop in. So you guys out there who are watching, ladies and gents, for the giveaway, we are going to have 5 winners tonight. We're going to be selecting that giveaway winner at 7:25 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. So it's Las Vegas. It's 6:27 p.m. right now. So literally in like 58 minutes, we're going to be drawing those 5 winners. And what those 5 winners are going to receive, each winner is going to receive the following: a 100 milliliter bottle of moon sugar, which I have heard is amazing, and I know it's one of their newer flavors. 100, which one?
No, they're all originals, but I just reformulated them. So the moon sugar is one of the original
moon sugar.
Yeah, reformulated. Yeah.
And then the second thing that you're going to get on that is 100 ml of Sweet Lovin. And then my personal favorite, the one that I've actually like had extensively, is a 100 milliliter of Melon Head. I'm not normally a melon fan, but I really like Melon Head a lot. So if you guys don't really like melon, I still say give this one a shot, because it's a really, really good flavor. And then everybody's gonna get one of those bobbleheads that we show. And it's awesome, guys, isn't it? The godfather of vape. There he is.
It's also, it says in the back too.
I love that. It does. It says it right there. That's so good.
I'll let you know, these are all hand painted too. So they're all they're high quality. He has, it's funny too. He's holding a mod, which is a Caravella.
Oh my gosh, I love that. And it's painted and they're hand painted too, you guys. So this is, not only are you getting these like awesome bobbleheads from this company that's one of the oldest ones in the entire industry, mainstream wise, but you're getting all these different flavors. So how many? That is 300 milliliters of e-juice, you guys. So 5 winners are going to get that. Make sure that you are here at 7:25, and make sure that when we draw your names, you say, hey, I'm here in the live chat, because if you don't, we're going to have to go and select a new winner, so that the people who are in the live chat at 7:25, we just want to make it fair for the people who actually hear.
And I'll throw in something else. I'll throw in if you guys like the flavors, I'll give you guys a lifetime coupon. So a good one.
Oh my God, lifetime coupon for all 5 winners?
Yeah.
Okay, you guys. Well, this is why he's the godfather of vape, because he's just making it rain with this. This is awesome. So, okay, guys, there you go. You're going to get a lifetime coupon too on top of all of those things. So if I were you and I was in the live chat right now, I wouldn't leave, because less than an hour and we're selecting those 5 people. So definitely be sure to check back in. I'll be reiterating this a few times, but those are the prizes. So thank you for that, Gary. That's awesome. I know that everybody's going to be super excited about the flavor. I've already had people commenting in the live chat about how much they like your flavors already. So
that's awesome.
So we've got some live chat questions for you, actually. Super Chief One says, question for Gary. Do you think different atomizer brands make your juice taste different with all other things being equal?
Yes. And it's like, for instance, like I use squonks a lot, and I've noticed, I mean, even this one is a pulse. This one tastes different than I have another squonk. I think I forgot the name of it, but it tastes drastically different. I think, you'll notice with atomizers too, is that like even the higher end atomizers, you'll taste the difference between a high end atomizer that's built like by hand and crafted like a single coil is going to taste a lot different than a dual coil in some of these builds. I get, like just like wraps, like you do, if you use like a flat coil, or, you use different types of wraps, like just the coil itself, you'll change your flavor. Some will dampen the flavor, some will pop the flavor. And even the refillables, I don't know, let's see, I'm trying to remember, but so even every atomizer that I buy, they almost all have different flavors, and especially if you use both, both temperature control. Like for instance, temperature control is essentially you can change all the flavors with that. Like you can have a temperature, like say you put it at 220 degrees, it's going to taste different than 300 degrees, and actually you can actually change the way the juice tastes completely with temperature control. So you can actually you can turn a juice that doesn't taste that great into a really good tasting juice by adjusting the temperature.
Wow. That's, yeah, I never even noticed that, because see, I just use atomizer. I don't use squonks or like anything. I'm just an atomizer person. So I didn't know that though. That's crazy. And is it just with the heat? Like, how does the heat make it taste better for like,
Yes,
if
it
it's like
does. I mean, you got to figure it. Things hit like, so for instance, like look at how like juices back in the day, like I'm not going to say the brands, but back then I used to use brands that I use, in a cartomizer, right? And the cartomizer would fire at like what, 7.5 watts or something, some real low wattage. That juice in the cartomizer would taste great, but all of a sudden you put into like a higher wattage device and it wouldn't taste near as good, So it's just the way that the heat reacts to the actual e-liquid itself. And so you can adjust your flavors and adjust just by adjusting wattages, or even like if you do variable volt, like the wattage, like if you had a juice at like 60 watts and you bring it up to like say 200 watts, you know what I'm saying? It's going to drastically change it.
Yeah, definitely. I would 100% agree with that. So Super Chief, I hope that answered your question. Our next question's coming in from Anton. He says, what flavor are you vaping on right now, Gary?
Sweet Lovin, this guy.
Oh, very nice.
I
And
go.
that's one of the flavors in the giveaway, correct?
Yeah, I mean, I switch between the first three I release. I vape them a lot. Pretty much I try to vape because my stuff's co-pack, so I always try to get a sample with me and actually try them, from each batch to make sure that they're good. And I make my flavors like, so when you taste my e-liquids, I make those for myself to enjoy as well. So everything I make is something that I want to vape. Some I like more than others, because of my personal palate that I like, or the time of day or the mood I'm in. For instance, like when it's cold, I like to vape moon sugar because it's more of a bready, bready flavor. When it gets hot,
Savory. Yeah.
last thing I want to do is vape a dessert. I'll vape like melon heads, one of my favorites. And right now I just wanted to switch it up because I was more in like a sweet tooth mood. So I did a Sweet Lovin because it's a strawberry watermelon bubble gum. So, and plus the extracts I use on that, I use like ripe strawberry mixed with juicy strawberry. And I also use Flavor Art strawberry in that one as well. So I have like a really good mixture in there to to bring that flavor out a little bit more for me. So, and I also use salt nicotine in here. So it's not high nic. So I use salt nicotine in 3 and 6 milligram. I don't do 50 milligram or like that. And the reason I do salt nicotine in this is because it pops the flavor more, because you're not fighting against the free base nicotine, which is like more of like a really like an ashtray taste if you get too much, and it's not harsh. And so so you'll notice with my liquids is that there'll be a lot of flavor in these guys because of the fact I use salt nicotine in low percentages.
That's actually that was our next question. Someone said, what do you think about high level nic salts? Will you ever consider doing that? So Maxim, I guess not, because he wants to keep his flavors low level, high flavor. So I hope that answered your question, Laxo.
Well, the thing is, a high nicotine, and people ask me that all the time. They're like, "Oh, what do you think about that?" I think everything in this industry has its place, and I think that a lot of people are against high nicotine stuff, but you got to realize why we're in this industry is to help people quit smoking and give them an alternative. And some people like the fact that they can vape a 30 milligram or 40 milligram because it gives them that throat hit that they're missing from a cigarette.
The intensity, yeah.
Or let's say, for instance, you're out and about, and you can't sit there and vape, these, make clouds or whatever, blow out a lot of vape out there. It's good while you're driving, hit it a couple times and be satisfied, or take a little sneak a toke on an airplane, just real quick. But I just, I think that
on the DL.
that product, I mean, I like salt nicotine for low nic juices. I think it's hands down better than free-base nicotine. I despise the ashtray taste, and as juices steep with salt nicotine, they don't get that dark, like ashy taste. It essentially, you still get like my liquids, and it tastes great 6 months down the line, and you're not going to have that really steeped out dark nicotine, on freebase. And that's just my personal preference. And I do, like I said, I mix for a living. I'm a contract mixologist, so I deal with every type of nicotine. And I actually know how to make and adjust the pH levels in the nicotine to give different types of throat hits, by using like citric acid and stuff like that. So
that's actually another question that we have in the chat, how you got into making e-juice. And I know for those of you guys who are watching out there, like he said, he's a certified mixologist. So he's, very familiar with the DIY thing as well, not aside from just being like OG in the vape space in general. And I know that you've got, we picked this background very specifically, didn't we, Gary, for this show?
That's my house. This is my house.
Yeah.
So this is my my home lab. Nothing that I produce in here goes out to the public. So what this is essentially behind me is every one of those drawers are full of different extracts from multiple different companies like Flavor Art, Liquid Barn, what is it, Capella, TFA. I have a couple Flavor West things that I don't really use, but I have a couple OG stuff for there. I have Wonder Flavors. I don't know if I mentioned Flavor, and then I have some other smaller brands that I utilize as well. So, but I can answer that real quick. So Mr. Good Vape obviously got me into mixing. I didn't go out saying, look, like I said, Mr. Good Vape wasn't supposed to be an e-liquid brand. So when I got asked to make a juice line, I had to learn how to make juice, and there wasn't like a really cool DIY forum like DIY or Die where you can go in there. There wasn't a lot of mixologists.
Learn all the tricks.
and figure it out. So obviously making my juice and coming up with new profiles was something that got me into the juice making. But when I started getting asked to make other profiles for the people, and that's where I really had to start, getting deeper into the craft. And I was lucky enough to know some really good juice makers as well. And so we just, worked together and created profiles. And then, what got me into it was getting lists. For instance, I had a client give me a list of 200 flavors, and I had to make 200 flavors. And every flavor was like different, so you had your fruits, you had your desserts, you had your tobaccos, you had your drinks, you had your shakes, you had your candies. So I really dug deep, and I created my own style, I guess, of mixing. I never really went on the forums, to be honest, because I didn't want to have anything sort of lead me in the direction of a profile, you know what I'm saying? So when I got that list, I just created more and more liquids. I learned some tips and tricks from people that I knew. And then it just blossomed from there. And now it's what I do. And I literally I make juices for companies or e-liquids from around the world for multiple different companies. And so
that's actually another one of our questions. You're all like psychic right now, Gary. Everybody's asking them, and you're just like, we had someone in the chat ask, do you have any other flavors out under any other brands right now currently?
I do. I have a lot of brands that I work with. I can't mention a lot of them because I have NDAs. And if you notice, when people win awards, they don't say the juice maker.
Yep.
So, you have major brands that won, I've got e-liquid of the year before. Can't say that one. I've gotten, quite a bit of different, brands out. I mean, I've worked with, like one that we worked on, I worked with Randy from Poet was, I think Electric Sky. Ooh. Which was the brand for Electric Daisy Carnival. for past.
I'm familiar. I'm out here in Vegas. I deal with
Yeah,
some
so I
traffic
made that one
every
with,
June.
and the reason I don't say a lot of the stuff that I've made is because there's a couple of things. Is like Mr. Good Vape is I can go behind it, I can stand behind it. It's my final decision when I make a line or make something for myself, right? But when I do contracts, it has nothing to do with my decision. It's I want this. I send them a whole bunch of different things. And if they say, look, I need this to be this way, and I don't think it's right, I'll tell them, but then sometimes they go towards the direction that I don't think the juice can go, but it's theirs, and that's their final say. So that's the main reason I don't say, look, I made this brand, I made this brand, I made this brand, because I've had brands that blew up. I've had brands that didn't do well. And the reason why is because they didn't make those adjustments that I told them about, or I don't have the final say in the co-packing either. So if they use, crappy VG that tastes bitter, the nicotine that I don't agree with because it tastes like an ashtray. I have nothing to do with that. And so essentially when I get contracted, I make them the recipe, they finalize it, I send it out, then they go ahead and they produce it. And so that's one reason I don't go, look, I made this one, I made this one, I made this one, I made that one. And it's just because I can't, I don't want to damage my reputation if they put some horrible nicotine in it. You know what I'm saying? You're like, oh, this one's like an ashtray. You're like, I'm sorry. Like,
it is what it is.
Yeah, but I do everything. I've made, juices for major companies, and I continue to do it. I just got one that was 60 or 65 high nic recipes, so, I make those, I send them out, and then they once it leaves my hands and the recipe leaves my hand, they do whatever they want. It's almost like, they sell it here, they sell it there, not me. It's I just, that's probably to answer that question. But I do formulate everything. It's not just e-juice. I make, I'll do beard oils, I'll do lotions, I'll do whatever, so I've even made sports drinks. So
wow. So you like mixing just in general, and e-juice happens to be your passion, but you're a mixologist in many senses of the word then.
Yes, and I love what I do. I'm saying? I love it. It's stressful sometimes, and that the more well-known that I get to, and the brands coming out, it's even more stressful, because then you're under, like, it sort of takes the fun away on some of this stuff, because, you release something and you're waiting. Like even the reforms I did for Mr. Good Vape, I had a reform moon sugar, because the original moon sugar we didn't know anything about diacetyl and all that stuff. So the moon sugar was loaded with diacetyl, and that was that big scare. I had to reformulate it. And then the second time I reformulated it, it wasn't that good. And the reason being is that I didn't have anything that was like the new extracts coming out now. You have a great range that don't have diacetyl in them, don't have acetylpropanol in them, so.
And you can still get that savory taste without that in it. Yes.
Luckily now I can use, like, for instance, Capella has golden butter, that's diacetyl free. So there's a little bit of that in there, there's, so the reforms, when I did this stuff, especially moon sugar, I was like, I released that and I was just like pacing back and forth, like what's going to go on? Like, oh my gosh, I hope this works, and I sent out these 3 to Spin Fuel magazine, right? And I didn't try them. And then, I was waiting for their review at the same time. And then all of a sudden people start trying it, like, dude, this is better than the original moon sugar. Like, people are flipping out about it. And then I won 3 awards from Spinfield Choice Awards for all 3 that I submitted, just for them to try. Nice. So that was the first launch, and that's what happened with this. And so I think, mixing for going on since 2000, I would say 2012 is sort of whatever, but it's going on 5 years now, I'd say, of mixing. Like, I have a lot more experience. I have really great relationships with my extract companies as well. So I was able to really produce something. And with my liquids too, is that since I am sold worldwide, I have to worry about all the different regulations around the world. I don't want to have different recipes for different parts of the world. And it's not the fact that a lot of people are like upset, like, oh, why'd you change them on this? Because, you want to just screw the United States and just mix for this. And it's not about that. It's about pretty much creating a juice that I could get approved around the world with one recipe, and just making a safer product. Whether people don't think diacetyl hurts you or not, or acetylpropanol hurts you or not, if I'm good enough to get it out of the recipe, why not?
Yeah, definitely.
Why not? Like, it is what it is. That's what I've thought. And I'll take hits all day long if it's a better move for my company in the industry, or actually the community first, then my company. Because if I really cared about as much money as I could make, I wouldn't have never changed the recipe.
with it, we actually have a question in the chat that's kind of geared towards this. There's a few more that are queued up that have been asked prior to this. So for those of you who are watching, if you asked a question and we haven't gotten to it, don't worry, it's queued. But I'm asking this question. I just saw it in the chat because it's applicable to what you're talking about now. Have you spoken against, or if not spoken against, what are your feelings about the FDA flavor ban? Are you familiar with all
Yep.
hullabaloo that's going on about that?
I think it's BS, because what happens is when there's no science, they use children. Period. And you go. I mean, I don't even bring it up, but Germany, Nazi science, they use children. That's what they do. And when you have no science behind something, you plant people's fears. That's the only one. This is why they're saying this. I mean, you have to figure their tax dollars. Think about it. So California, right?
Yeah.
They invested our tax money into the success of tobacco. Okay, so if you're an investor and you've invested millions of dollars into something and something is affecting that money, right? You're losing your money hand over fist, and you're able to do a campaign to sort of reverse that, try to be like, okay, I'm gonna get rid of this product. Oh, it's helping people, but you don't care, you know. So this is the thing, and I get passionate about this just because I'm very like into politics, and not like I'm not Democrat, I'm not Republican, I'm none of the parties. I'm not that. I don't believe in that stuff, but it's like this. If they truly cared about your health, why do they put fluoride in the water? Why would they force medicate society with fluoride? It's a chemical that the Nazis developed, and now they're force medicating the actual like water. Like, so it's like for me, it's like this. It's all about money. They know that flavors help people, and the reason why flavors help people is because I can attest myself. Flavors is what got me to quit smoking. I never been into tobacco flavors. Matter of fact, I don't really mix a lot of tobacco flavors, to be honest, but it's not my thing. But flavors help me quit smoking, and it makes vaping exciting. It makes it the fact that even with my line, you're able to try, moon sugar, melon head. Oh, I don't like moon sugar. I like melon head. Or I want this, and then it leads you to other brands. Like my brand has been a stepping stone to a lot of people that vape other people's stuff, and that's fine with me. But so the flavor ban is just BS. It's not good. It's not okay. It has no science behind it, and all the scientific studies that they're putting into it. It's like back in the day when the marijuana thing, where they had that monkey vaping like 1,000 joints, and it killed them. Well, of course, there's no oxygen in there. Even the recent scientific study with the heavy metals and all that. They're doing a study like we're sitting there with this thing attached to our face, and every single breath that we take is from this device, right? And then the previous study was about what are those, a Chinese cigarette, like they had like the battery that was attached to the actual like flavor pod, and that stuff's leaking in the flavor pod. Like, I don't know. I mean,
but that's all cheap outsourced stuff too. That they do not have the safety conditions or like any of the stuff that we have in place here to keep that in check. So I think when it comes to a lot of things out there, you're never going to really hear all the good stories, but you always hear the bad ones, or whatever the bad, you always hear the bad hype, which is why we're here. And this is the reason why we have this show, so that we can provide good hype for people.
Yeah, well, to be honest, it's follow the money with politics. You got to figure it's like this. How can you go into politics poor and come out a millionaire? So, there's other, that's the problem with this. The FDA gets money from people that they get money from the tobacco fund. They get money from, and how do they get money from something that they should be fighting against? Because, this is a fund that is consistently having to be paid by these guys. And if they can't pay them by revenue created by tobacco, then, there's a lot of people that are losing this money. And, it's all about, for me, it should be about the health of the actual people that live here. If vaping was 5% safer, just to say 5% safer than something else, it should be promoted as a safer product, a safer alternative. And you go to European studies, it's saying it's 90% safer than cigarettes. 90%. Europe's saying, look, this is a better product. Use it. And the difference is it's education. You go to the United States and everybody thinks nicotine causes cancer. Nicotine is not what causes cancer. Tar causes cancer. Nicotine is just like coffee in a way. I mean, I know we can go deeper. I'm just trying to go see, but it's the fact that nicotine doesn't cause cancer. Tar causes cancer. Tar is created when you light a cigarette and it combusts, and that tar goes into your lungs with all the other chemicals that make the paper burn slower. So even the FDA is targeting that too. Oh, we're going to reduce the nicotine in cigarettes. Why? Make the nicotine stronger so they smoke less. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. But that's the good part about vaping, though. It's not only do you have the nicotine levels, but if you do want to up it, if you want to, I know that like there's so much nicotine in an analog versus like what's in what's in a tank, for instance. But I still think that it's cool that you can adjust it and you can kind of dictate it, not just by what you're putting in your body, but exactly how much of everything you're putting in.
Yeah, well, the reality is that a smoker is going to smoke. And we talk about children and all this stuff, but I started smoking when I was 16 years old. I picked cigarette butts off the ground, and then I smoked those, and I had people buy them for me. And then my stepdad at the time smoked cigarettes, and that's what got me into it. It had nothing to do with it was just a dumb thing. It was dumb, and I regret doing it. But there's social aspects of cigarettes that I enjoy, that everybody else enjoys. It's going out and, on your lunch break and vape, soaking a cigarette, and it's the hand to mouth. It's all these different things that play together that make the cigarette work for people. It's not the taste. I don't think cigarettes taste good. I don't think that your clothes smell good afterwards. And so, the vaping does that for me. Vaping allowed me to go outside,
have that same social community aspect.
Yeah, I mean, I don't drink, but when I used to, I would go out and I'd vape, out there and have a beer with people, and it allowed me to do that and allowed me to sort of, that's probably my favorite part of vape of smoking at the time, was just the social aspect, sitting there and smoking. It's like a boredom thing, really. I used to, I used to do construction too back in the day, and you're out there, in the middle of nowhere, for hours, and you smoke. It's just one of those things. But the flavor ban, it's all BS. I think what we need to do is literally just have as many people write about how flavors helped you. You know what I'm saying? How they go to the FDA site, write a comment and say, look, the flavors helped me because it allowed me to get off of cigarettes. It allows me an exciting way to try different flavors. It's almost like a craft brew thing. There's tons of beer out there, but people like to, go to craft brewers because they're making really cool concoctions. And I feel like, for me, flavors were the reason why I quit smoking. That's the only reason, because if it tasted like nothing and I didn't enjoy it, I wouldn't
do it for you. Exactly.
Yeah. And to say that adults are the only ones that like candy is dumb. I mean, my grandma's what, 83 years old, and she loves cheesecake. Is that wrong? Is that, I'm saying? My wife likes candies. I mean, I have jelly beans right here. I like these.
Everybody likes them. Just because you reach a certain age doesn't mean you automatically stop liking awesome stuff.
Yeah.
But I agree, though. I think that the flavor is a big aspect of what keeps people, especially if they're able to find their favorite. I know people are like, my guilty pleasure is Butterfingers, and I found a Butterfinger vape. So it was like, instead of them reaching for the analog, they're still, a Butterfinger lover, but it's like they're almost killing two birds with one stone, because now they don't want the Butterfinger or the analog. But
I mean, even like alcohol, look at that. There's flavored alcohol. There's like cupcake alcohol. You know what I'm saying? But that's okay. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
You can go and I mean, if they really were that concerned with flavors, you would be able to buy alcohol and it'd be vodka, and it would be that's it. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Even beer has flavor. You know what I'm saying? Like it is where you couldn't mix a Coca-Cola with a Jack Daniels, because it's the, you can just point these things out, and it's sort of a red flag for me. Is like when anybody uses children for any type of like fight against something, that's just a red flag, because you go,
because it's the first thing that they'll go to.
Just give me science, and if they're refuting science from European studies, they're refuting science that are, and they're putting out all this bullcrap all the time, then they're trying to change perception by not educating the public to make the right decision. They're using emotion. Once you use emotion, that means it's BS.
Yeah, Absolutely.
There you go.
Thank you so much for delving. No, I appreciate it. And I see there's a huge conversation going on in the chat right now about advocacy and kind of everything from the flavor ban to the FDA. So I think that it's great that we're highlighting this. And I'd actually love to talk a little bit more about advocacy later, but I'm going to reiterate the giveaway real quick. And then we have some other questions queued for you because lots of people got lots of questions for you tonight, Gary. They are thrilled to have an OG Vapor in here. So
OG. I'm just old. I'm just old. Just call it as it is.
So you guys, we have a giveaway that we are doing at 7:25. So in a half hour from now, we will be selecting 5 winners. Those 5 winners are going to receive, each person is going to receive this. You're going to get 100 milliliter bottle of moon sugar. Then you're gonna get 100 milliliters of Sweet Lovin and 100 milliliters of Melon Head, which is my personal favorite, if you guys want to know. And then 1 Mr. Good Vape bobblehead, which is awesome. They're so cool. It's like this little guy in a suit. It's got the Godfather of Vape. He's gonna hold it up right there. Love it. And on the back it says the Godfather of Vaping. I love it. So you guys are going to get all of that. And on top of that, you guys, on top of those prizes, all 5 winners are going to receive lifetime coupons to Mr. Good Vape because Gary is awesome and decided halfway through the show to throw that in as a prize. So you guys, we've got some amazing giveaway prizes tonight. And in a half hour, I'm going to be drawing that winner. Make sure that you are in the live chat. If you are not in the live chat at 7:25, when I draw your name, and be sure to say, I'm here at 7:25. Once I do draw your name, then your entry will be considered valid. But if I draw your name and you're nowhere to be found at 7:25, we're going to redraw to be fair to everyone who is still watching the show. So, but I know that we've had an amazing show so far. For those of you guys who kind of hopped in halfway, I'm Tina, the ejuices.com social media guru, and I'm here with Gary, aka Mr. Good Vape himself, aka one of the OG vapors in the game, aka one of the first 5 mainstream e-juice brands ever. He's got some like really awesome old school gear, you guys, that he was showing me before the show. So, but before we get into all the fun, gear stuff, I'm sure if we got some time, Gary, maybe you can pull out some of those and show everyone, maybe refresh everybody who remembers all the 2012 gadgets. But we have a question from Eric Stockton, and he wants to know, what sweeteners do you use?
Sweeteners, okay. So for DIY, or is this a DIY question, or is this a question for Good Vape? Because there are two. I use a whole bunch of different types of sweeteners.
I mean, let's just say Good Vape for now. They didn't specify in their question, but let's say Mr.
Okay. So Good Vape, I use I don't use a lot, but I use a little bit of Capella Super Sweet. And the reason being it's highly concentrated. I got to use a lower percentage. Actually, and then one of my flavors, I use ethyl maltol, which is cotton candy. It's pretty much another name for cotton candy. And I'll use Sweet from the Perfumer's Apprentice and that one is on Melon Head. And then Moon Sugar, which is funny, I barely use any sugar in that whatsoever. And then Sweet Lovin has a little bit more in there because obviously I'm going after not a lot. It's still less than probably the most commercial standards. I always use less than 1% on all these. But I'm mimicking a bubble gum. So obviously, I was going after the mouthfeel of bubble gum, like where it has that like sort of powdery effect on your mouth. And
like the initial when you bite down, yeah.
You'll notice that one. It's a little bit. It's still a lower percentage, but with the extracts that I'm used on that as well, it makes it pop a little bit sweeter. But it's because of the extracts that I'm using. I'm using like sweet strawberry, and stuff like that. So for extracts.
Awesome. Very awesome. So I hope that answered your question, Eric. The next one that we got in the queue for you is from Beauty and the Vape. And I know that we actually discussed this. So if you would like to let everyone on the show know, you can. But she wants to know if you'll be expanding your flavor line.
I'll be releasing all of my flavors. So you'll have, the next one will be Dabbleduya, and I'm working on this finalizing all that. I'll probably be picking another fruit vape to go along with that. I'm not sure if I'm gonna be doing Honey Baby or Karma Cream or Dreamsicle. I'm trying to figure out which one I want to release. And the reason
Okay,
why
my vote is Dreamsicle, just like to
I
put
know
that out
everybody,
there.
I know it's crazy. I have, everybody wants something a little bit different. And, that's a good thing about my line. I'm very fortunate about that, that people remember a lot of these OG juices that I made. And I'm excited to re-release them. And they're going to pop a lot better now just because I'm using the salt nicotine with them in low percentages. But the reason I'm going to set this straight, because everybody's like, oh, why did you take all this stuff off the market? Okay, so the reason I did it was for a couple things. Is number one, I reformulated all of them. So they're all reformulated. They've been registered. Everything's been done. Okay. But when I'm reestablishing a brand, I had 12 flavors. Okay. So I had 12 flavors. And for me to bring Good Vape back financially, it's going to be impossible for me to, to do a whole bunch of 100 ml bottles in 12 flavors. And then to go to stores or retail locations and distros to actually pick that many flavors up at once, it would pretty much be shooting myself in the foot, because if you've noticed a trend is that since I'm an older brand, older brands generally had a larger juice selection. We went,
They build up.
We build them up. So, like Naked 100, that is more of an old school style, I would say, because they have a lot of juice, to the point where people are saying don't make any more, because it's hard to stock that many juices, no matter if they're great or not. So I went sort of like the sub brand route, but they're all going to be under Good Vape. So I released 3, which was the really good ones, solid ones, just Melonhead, Moon Sugar, and Sweet Lovin. I did a gambit of those. And so as stores are picking them up and I'm establishing them in distros, it's a lot easier for me to go, look, here's another flavor, because these stores can automatically pick them up. But if I'm going to an actual retail location or a distro saying, look, I have 13 flavors, they're like, what?
There you go. They're like,
And since I did reintroduce this stuff, it's almost like Good Vape's new again, right? And so, even though I'm old school, a lot of people know about me. There's people that don't know about Good Vape, and it's not their fault. Just I dropped off for a couple years, right? So that's the reason why I've held back. It has nothing to do with pretty much me being stingy or anything like that. It's legitimately, I have to do this right for Mr. Good Vape to stay around. And I want Good Vape to be around forever. This is my goal. Like I stated, I haven't even paid myself in going on 8 months with this brand. I'm re-rolling everything back in. So every time you see me on Facebook, every time you see me doing these things, I'm not getting paid for this at all. I'm doing this because I love the brand. I want to do it right. And that's it. That is why I'm doing it the way I'm doing it. And, it pains me to tell people that, yes, I can't have this out yet. Or I'm not doing this right now. I can't do this right now. And it's just because I'm doing it right. Like I said before, I spend no money on marketing. I haven't spent a dime on marketing. It's all grassroots. It's all through my followers. It's all through, people saying, pick Mr. Good Vape up, pick Mr. Good Vape up. And that's how I'm getting stores. That's how I'm getting distros. That's how I'm getting everything. I have one sales rep, which is Adam Henderson, my best friend in the world. And that's who calls stores. So Good Vape is worldwide again in 5 months, 6 months, right? So we're already worldwide. It's all by word of mouth. It's nothing. I spent zero money on marketing. I didn't have it. I don't have it,
But see, I think that's why companies like yours, even in the past, had done so well, because any other company that I know, if they dropped off the grid during the most formative years for vaping and then came back and people still knew who they were, I haven't heard of anything like that. So I think that that's a testament to saying how much work you put into making that foundation for the brand really strong. And I think that the work that you're putting in now and to kind of rebuilding and reformatting that foundation is really what's going to set you apart from other brands. There's so many brands out there, but there are not a lot of brands who are ready to do it the right way, like you're saying. So I think that's what's going to set you and a lot of the other guys that we've spoken to on this show. We've had a couple of really, really, really kind of old school, same thing, people who have been in the game forever. And it's like, what is the one defining factor? And it's like, I love my customers. I'm not in it about the money. Like, I'm in this because I'm passionate. I want to do it right. And I want to do the people who helped me build this right. And I think that's what's going to make you and continue to make you successful. So
legitimately, the community, the vape community is all I care about. That is it. I'm not going to make moves for my brand that would, tarnish our industry or, the image of it. I will make any move possible that I have in my head to make sure it's a positive step forward in this industry. Like, and I highly believe that the only reason why Good Vape is successful or becoming successful right now is because of the community. Like, I live and breathe this vape community, and I only want to establish myself by earning it. Like when people write me a 5-star review, I write individually, thank you so much for your support. I will continue to keep earning your business. And that's what I will do. Like, I never will sell out. Like, it's not, I don't believe that that's the right way. And I think that's a bad look for our industry, by brands that just want to get in and get out.
Yeah.
That's what caused all this. I mean, you look at the very first ECC to what they're doing. I mean, the last ECC was good, but if you go to these expos, you're like, dude, what the heck is going on? It's,
but I think you'll just keep seeing them. You'll see the ones that don't care drop off, and the ones that do care just funnel up to the top.
It's switching. And the industry's starting to grow up a little bit more now. I mean, I think it's because just the regulations, all the threats now, and like, going to advocacy and stuff. I mean, that's very important. And I think that, people are starting to realize that, because once you take something away, and if you don't care about it for so long and it's gone, that's when people are really going to realize the impact, of even like the juice, like the flavor ban. If this happens, I mean, you're going to drive people back to cigarettes, like it or not. People like nicotine, that's what it is. And they like to smoke. There's a whole hand to mouth action and stuff, but, that's it, so, all right, next one.
No, I think that it's fantastic that it's like, you're able to, like I said, we need good hype. We need good hype in this industry, and we need good hype. We need people to know that if you do take a break for a few years or go off the grid, even other manufacturers, that it's okay, because if you put the work in up front, that people will still be there and people will still be ready to do that and give you that word of mouth kind of propulsion outward. So we've got a couple of questions queued. One of them is actually a couple of people have been inquiring and asking me to ask that a little bit sooner. So if you're one of the people who had asked a previous question, don't worry, I'm going to ask it, but I'm just going to ask this one because it's applicable to what we're talking about. Gary, Smoke Signals wants to know, what is the one profile or recipe that you have not been able to nail? Your elusive white whale.
Okay. All right. I mean, I get
What's
close.
your Moby Dick?
The one that I always like have issues with, and it's not that it's a tres leche. Okay. And then again, and
that's a hard one to nail, though. So
I mean, I get them close, but the thing is, when you do a tres leche, it's all creams. Yeah, you know what I'm saying? It's all pretty much one flavor profile. Like when you do extra, so it's like, it's one of those things that I can get close to it. But when you have a tres leche too, what is the best part about a tres leche? Is the fact it's the filling. It's the fact that there's milk poured on it, and it's not just the it's not just the pie itself or the cake itself, whatever it's called. It's the whole experience. And I think that with a lot of
layers and the liquid and
like for instance, if somebody asks for a bomb pop, I want this to be a bomb pop. But the thing is, when you eat a bomb pop, it's different flavors in a row. It's not all the flavors at once. You know what I'm saying? It's like, and that's
you're not you're not like, oh, here's strawberry, next is blueberry, there's the switch. Like,
that's what I'm saying. So that's the hardest part, is when you're mixing stuff together. I mean, just like, like milk and graham crackers are easy because, you can eat that at once, but the profiles, when people are looking for different layers, it's very hard sometimes to mix those juices, those profiles, because, there's experiences that bring memories to certain profiles, and so it's like, that's the hardest part for me. So yeah, I guess the tres leche is something that, I want to nail, and I've got them close. It's just one of those things where it's just one of those things. So if anybody wants to shoot me one, I'll give it a shot. I'll make it.
Let me know when you do figure it out, because I want to be one of the first people to try that. I want to be like, I know he put a lot of time and thought into this, because the white whale.
Yeah.
We have a question from Nasty J. Says, question, would I or someone be able to partner with you to create a flavor to sell in your product line? Are you open to that? If you are, is there some way that he can contact you, essentially?
Well, it's hard to do that because of for the United States, it's pretty much toast.
Yeah, that's true.
But, you know, I'm going to be working on something, and I am working on something I can't talk about, which will give a platform to individuals that would like to do one shots. So.
Okay. Well, everyone keep your eye out then, because I know he can't say it on this show, but be sure to keep an eye on Mr. Good Vape. So we had another person ask, is Mr. Good Vape going to be in Detroit this weekend?
Probably not. I don't know unless my distributors do it. I'm a homebody. I traveled. I've been to China. I went to China last year. I went to ECC. I don't really do the whole circuit anymore when it comes to expos. I just don't. I'm not saying I don't like them. I just don't. I feel like for me, trying to build the brand up, I'd rather, you know, utilize that money, putting them directly into my brand and to get these other juices started or e-liquids out than to waste 25 grand. Because most of the stuff is, you know, as people know in this industry, you're going to be like, for instance, stores, you know, stores generally get samples sent to them, right? Distros generally are either making their own stuff now, or we contact on the phone. I, you know, give them a shout, and then we send stuff back and forth, and that's how we work on things. Like I'm working on one. I'm hoping to get Vapor Beast. I'm trying that really hard right now. But so, you know, but that's all talks. You know, I go talk to them. I meet them, and so the expos themselves in the United States, I'm not very interested in, strictly because, I mean, if somebody wants a store wants to try my juice, I'll send them samples. You know, if you have a store that you want that's local, shoot me an email. I'll contact the store myself and shoot some samples over to them, you know, and get them local. If you want to try my juice, hit me up. I'll send you a coupon. You know, I was like, hey man, I can't, you know, we can't have sample sizes just because I have to register every size. So I have one size is my 100 ml. If you want to try my juice, hit me up personally. I will send you a coupon and make it worth it for you.
Awesome.
But I want to go to European stuff. So that's what I want to go. And that's for not just for the shows, but I want to actually check it out. I've never been to Germany. I want to go to Germany really bad. That's my family. That's my grandma's from. So I want to go to those types of places. So hopefully in Greece I want to go to really bad too, because
my grandma's from there.
The one shots are huge. My Mr. Good Vape DIY, the one shots and stuff, they're huge in Greece. Yeah. You know, and I didn't even know that I was actually well known in Greece at all, really.
Yeah.
So, but they hit me up. They're like, "Man, you got to come out here. You're like famous out here."
That's awesome. I'm half Greek. I have family out there. I wonder if they've heard of you. I have to ask them. We've actually got a couple of like silly questions for you, but before I get into those, I'm going to reiterate one more time for everybody out there who's watching. We are doing a giveaway. We will be drawing the names for that giveaway at 7:25. How can you enter? There is a link in the description below the video. Go ahead and click that. It will take you to the entry form so that you can go ahead and sign up for that giveaway. The winners, I'm going to read out one last time what you guys are going to be receiving in this giveaway. So 5 winners are going to receive this. So each person is going to receive a 100 milliliter bottle of Moon Sugar, 100 milliliter bottle of Sweet Lovin, and 100 milliliter bottle of Melon Head, and one Mr. Good Vape bobblehead, which we've shown off a couple times on this show, but it is so fun and awesome. And I'm sure maybe Gary can give us a look at it before the show ends, or before, oh, he's got it right there. There it is, guys, Mr. Good Vape. And it says the Godfather of Vaping on the back of it. So 5 winners are going to receive that. And then on top of that, right in the middle of the show, smack dab in the middle, Gary decided that he's going to throw in a lifetime coupon for all 5 winners. So this is not just an average giveaway. This has a new level to it now, you guys. So be sure to enter, because I'm going to be drawing that winner in 12 minutes. So if you are not in the live chat at 7:25 to say, hey, I'm here, if we draw your name, we're going to have to move on to someone else who's in the live chat, just to be fair. So please be here at 7:25 because it's only 12 minutes. So if you guys just popped in, welcome. If you guys have been watching the whole show, thank you, and we appreciate you. But be sure to be here at 7:25 when we announce those winners' names. So we have one of my personally great guy, awesome channel on YouTube, The Meter Vapes. And I actually just got off the phone with him the other day. He says he has a very, very important question for Gary. What beard oil do you use in that glorious man puff? If none, check out swaggyshane.com.
SwaggyShane.com.
I guess, but he said, what glorious beard oil do you use?
It's funny. There's a lady, I don't even know what the brand is. So I live in Yucca Valley, which is right by Joshua Tree, and so it's like very like hippie-ish out here. So
yeah,
there's a place in Pioneer Town. It's like a little this old lady. She knits and she makes beard oils and different kinds of essential oil stuff, and it's an actual like cream. I think it's based with I'm trying to even think what it's made of. Coconut oil, argon. Argon's one of my favorite things to use as alone. It's just a really expensive oil.
argan oil. Oh.
Yeah, argon's my favorite, and it has a little bit of lemongrass scent to it, so it's a like little light citrus, and that's what I use. I've used a lot of brands. I make my own stuff too, so it's not. It's pretty basic stuff to mix, but if I were to use one thing, I would probably just use argan oil, to be honest. It's just a very light oil. It's not thick. It's not, the cheaper stuff has mineral oil in it, where it's more like, it's really, really thick, but it doesn't smell quite nice. So, but even like argan oil with a little bit of citrus hint to it, and you can add that to coconut oil and mix it, and then you have a good beard oil, to be honest.
See, that's not applicable to me, but Meter, I hope that helps you, because I'll have to tell all my friends argan oil. I use argan oil in my hair, so that's awesome that you guys use it, that people use it for their beards. So it's a good one, though. It's a good well-known secret.
It's very, very expensive.
Yeah.
Even coconut oil too. Like if anybody has cheap coconut oil, just put it in there and you just mix it together and rub it in there and make sure you don't get chunks in there because it looks funny. And then that's it.
So we have another silly question before we get into a couple more of the branding questions. Have you seen SpongeBob the show?
Gary Meow?
Yeah, he wants you to Gary Meow.
Meow?
Yeah, he's like, Ralph, there you go, guys. He meowed. So Ralph, I hope that covers your Gary Meow. So Gary, I know that you know, as a professional mixologist and stuff, we have a couple of DIYers on here actually every week that watch the show. Do you have any advice, safety or otherwise, for those DIYers who are looking to kind of get into their own mixing game?
Well, the good thing, so are you talking about DIYers that already DIY or people that want to start DIYing?
We got a little bit of both in here. We've got people who say that they're looking into it. We've had people who have already begun, but they're still, maybe not professional at it. So
sweet. So anyway, I am working on a DIY project, and I'll go into that not now. But so if you're just getting into DIY, I would probably go like a one-shot route. Like just get some things pre-mixed. For instance, Liquid Barn. So I did this for the DIY guys. This is strictly something that I've done with Liquid Barn, and they sell my one shots, and so you can buy, like, it doesn't have to be mine, I'm just giving you an example, like it says 15% add this extract. It's pre-mixed, it's already there. You get your VG and your PG. Always get really good VG. I like Bulk Apothecary. To me, that's the best tasting VG in my opinion, because it's sweet, it's not bitter. You can use a sweetener because you're not covering anything up. Your PG, of course, it's pretty basic. Just, I think it's kosher. Yeah. And then the nicotine, I just automatically use, at my house, I use 100 milligram in VG. So, and it's very simple, it's three mils in a 100 mil bottle is, is going to be 3 milligrams, whatever. And the safety on that is always obviously keep that locked up. My stuff is locked up in there. It's locked. My son's on the high shelf. It has, because I personally, when I'm mixing, the childproof cap. I have one that's a massive bottle that's childproof cap, but my small stuff, when I'm mixing real quick, I actually have a squeeze bottle, so I make sure that everything is locked up. That's essentially the way it is. You should wear gloves. I don't. I'm not gonna lie. I get it on me all the time. I'm immune to nicotine. But don't use the pure stuff. I don't have it at my house just because I have a kid. It's that pure stuff. It's not good. It's actually an insecticide. So I don't know if you know that the high nicotine pure will kill bugs. So therefore, it's not
Yeah.
something
Maybe
that
not leaving it around.
just keep that stuff locked away. Make sure it's hyped. Don't get lazy with it. Do not get lazy with nicotine. It's not something that you want to deal with. I mean, for instance, like I've had 100 milligram in my hand. I've licked it, not, and I shouldn't have, but I was learning. I didn't know. And all of a sudden, you start to hiccup. You start to sweat. Gives you a upset stomach.
Really?
Yeah. So that's one thing with the high nic stuff I don't like is that if it sputters in your mouth, you're just like you're like
Yeah.
hiccuping. Um, but if you're getting into DIY, legitimately use and utilize the forums. Go to DIY or Die. Talk. Wayne Walker is the host there. I'm friends with him. He's a good dude. Like the admins there are really amazing. There's people there that will help you and guide you. Ignore the BS because there's always some BS guy on there trying to talk some crap, whatever. And don't let that intimidate you because the members there will stick up for you and lead you in the right direction. Just don't be shy. Ask questions. And if you want to get into DIY and you don't want to go to the forums, you just want to get something basic, message me personally. I will help you out. No
Awesome.
matter what, I will help you out because there are simple recipes that you can go on that, like I think it's all the juices or all the flavors, juicerecipes.com. Those are places where they have recipes laid out for you. And just start with something that's basic. Just pick something that you really, really like and give that recipe a shot. They're there for you to use. They're there for you to, get started on this quest. And once you do it, you're going to love it. Okay. It's cheaper than commercial mixing. It's way cheaper. I mean, you can, even one shots are way cheaper. You spend $10, you can make like 200 mils or a lot more. You know what I'm saying? If you do it yourself, you can probably make 100 mils for $4, $5, yourself or whatever, cheaper, depending on what you want to do. So, it's a really good avenue to get into, to learn the craft. I DIY, I still buy stuff as well. Obviously commercial juice is always consistent. You can buy that, it's already, hopefully it's already been steeped, it's ready to go, what I'm saying? But, the DIY stuff is fun, and who knows, you might love it and you might, start opening other people up that can't afford to vape. You can vape, make juices for them, and get them, the product that they need as well. Because some people just can't afford commercial juice, and we're here as a community and we should help out people that can't afford to vape to stay off cigarettes.
Yeah, we actually kind of came up with our own strategy. We started selling kind of all the supplies and stuff for the DIYers out there too. So we've been linking it out there in the live chat, you guys. But again, Gary's a great resource to use if you have any questions about that, because he is a professional mixologist and clearly he's been doing this for a while and is very good at doing it, and not just when it comes to e-juice. So Gary, I have a quick question for you out of just personal curiosity that I meant to ask a lot earlier in the show. Which is your most popular flavor?
Huh. And it's funny because it depends on area. Like it legitimately depends on where like people are
geographically
from. It is, for instance, Moon Sugar obviously is like a cult classic. A lot of people like Moon Sugar. Then it goes Melon Head, and then it goes Sweet Lovin' out of these three. Okay. Now the demographics too, like for instance, in Brazil, they like Sweet Lovin', but they don't like Melon Head. It's just their palates are different. Like you enjoy food that probably people in, let's say, China don't like. So my top flavor, I mean, if I were gonna pick out of my three, if I had to choose them, I would probably do Melon Head and Moon Sugar. If you don't like bready stuff, go to Melon Head. If you like sweet stuff, if you like candies, and go to Sweet Lovin'. That's why I released these threes, because it attacks each palate. I personally think that all e-juice styles, like just you do what tastes great to you and don't listen to reviews on a lot of things. I mean, obviously, we want to go do stuff that has like not bad reviews. But I mean, for instance, I don't like tobacco flavors that much, but if you like tobacco flavors, do some research and, do what helps you not smoke. So
whatever gets the job done, right? Like that's pretty much the message out here. So guys, we have the giveaway coming in just about a minute or so, and I'm going to reiterate what those prizes are for all of you guys. And make sure that if you are in the chat right now, that when I draw these names, if you are one of the winners, say here in the chat. Don't say it right now prior to the giveaway, but after we draw those winners, go ahead and in big caps put here after we draw those names so that we know that you're here and that it's fair and that you guys have been here watching the show, so that we make sure that, you know, the winners, it's fair for the winners. So 5 winners, you guys, are going to receive the following. Number 1, you guys are going to receive a 100 milliliter bottle of moon sugar. Number 2, you're going to receive Sweet Lovin 100 mils, and then you're going to get 100 mils of Melon Head. And finally, the Mr. Good Vape Bobblehead, which is so fun. We've been showing that off this whole show. And on top of that, you guys, Gary has decided to throw in lifetime coupons for the people who are winning the show in this giveaway today, the giveaway winner. So if you're one of those 5, not only are you getting this, but you're also getting that coupon. So real quick, I'm actually going to go ahead before we do the giveaway, because we have another minute, and I'd like to show off Gary's Instagram to you guys so that you can see his handle, and if you want to follow him and see what's going on with his business and all the new stuff that he's been going out with, then you can go ahead and take a look at that Instagram. I'm going to pull it up on the screen so that you can see it, and make sure to keep an eye on that handle. So if you guys want to go ahead and follow Gary, you can do so. And then he also mentioned that he uses Facebook a lot for most of his stuff. So if you guys aren't Instagram people and you prefer Facebook, good news. So does Gary. So I'm going to go ahead and draw those giveaway winners, you guys. It is the time. The time is now 7:25. So let's see who the lucky winners are going to be. Drum roll, please. All right, so I am going to announce the winners right now. So guys, I have drawn the winners in the widget. I'm going to read them out. If this is you and this is your name, or if you're confused and maybe it's not your name, I'm going to go ahead and see if I can pull up. Yeah, so I have full names. So if you guys are confused and you think that it might not be you, go ahead and ask and I'll clarify. But the winners are, number 1 is Jacob Perales. Congratulations, Jacob P. You are a number 1 winner. Number 2 is Lori D. Congratulations, Lori. You are a number 2 winner. Jason Snow is winner number 3. Jason, congratulations. Winner number 4 is Cynthia H. Cynthia, congratulations. And finally, winner number 5 is Ashley R. So everybody, if you're in the chat right now, say here in big caps. And if you are a winner, go ahead and email me right now at eatjuicescom@gmail.com, or after the show is fine too. That's eatjuicescom@gmail.com. Go ahead and email me, say, hey, I'm a winner from last night's live show, and tomorrow morning I'll be sure to get all of your names and addresses and information and stuff so we can go ahead and send over those items to you. So congratulations to all of our winners. Not only do you guys get the amazing prizes that we have, but you all have lifetime coupons from Mr. Good Vape. So Gary, I just want to thank you so much for coming on the show today. You've been amazing in answering questions. You even did the Gary meow. So thank you. I know our audience thanks you, and I know we have a lot of fans of Mr. Good Vape in here. Are there any closing thoughts that you'd like to say to our audience regarding yourself, Mr. Good Vape, the industry in general, anything?
Well, I mean, obviously, I'm going to do my very best to, take care of all you guys that are supporting my brand. I'm going to, always earn your business no matter what. And I'm going to, so just stay tuned for all the new releases that I have. I'm going to be making some merchandise as well. So finally I'm getting some hats and some, some stuff like shirts and all that, start giving away. I'm going to start making some unique items too. They're not vape related. It's Good Vape branded for fun. Maybe like a poker chip with like milligrams instead of the numbers and stuff I was thinking about doing for like poker sets. But, other than that, like, I just want to say thank you to everybody for, even making this possible for me, because, I literally am living my dream right now. I mean, I get to stay home with my family, and that's what it's about for me. Is I moved out of the middle of nowhere. I'm not part of the vape scene. I just legitimately get to stay here and, in this office, go out there. My son's out there waiting for me. And so, this is what it's all about for me. And I just want to say thank you. It has nothing to do with anything else. I'm just very appreciative for all the support that people have given to me that never even met me in person, that I've really got to know. And that's what I'm thankful for. This industry has been more to me than just helping me quit smoking. It's really given me like a meaning and a passion. And, I would have never thought in 1,000 years I'd be mixing for a living, so
Yes.
I'm
And
really excited. So thank you.
we're so thrilled to have had you, Gary. It was an honor to have someone who has been around as long as you have, as far as this industry, and with the knowledge that you have, especially on all ends, on the mixing side, on the business side. So thank you. We have someone in the chat, Beauty in the Vape, is actually asking, where can they find you on Facebook? Is it just a Mr. Good Vape page, or should they reach out to you?
Mr. Good Vape on Facebook. And that's, like I said, that's what I prefer, to be honest. I don't really like Instagram. I don't know if I'm an old man, but I legitimately like Facebook because I'm able to weed out a lot of the stuff that I don't like. Because, Instagram, like I said, you put a hashtag on and every brand's, advertising on, try this new liquid by so-and-so. Like Facebook, I'm the guy that answers the emails, the direct messages. I'm the guy that posts. So when you go to Facebook, you get me, and you'll realize that when you follow me on Facebook, it's not all about vaping. It's about life. What I do. You get to meet my animals, you meet my family. I post pictures when I go out with my son, and that's what vaping is to me. It's not about all this hype kind of stuff. Like, I post real life stuff because, like I said, you have a real job. I have a real job. Everybody has, the average vapor is not what they put a picture on. It's like, it's an average everyday person, right? And so that's what Facebook is. I'm allowed me to do that. I don't run a lot of contests. I rarely do them. I don't do that. This is very rare, to be honest.
Yes, I know. That's why we're so happy to have you on our show doing it.
But on Facebook, like I said, you participate on my page. Like, I'll let everybody know you participate. I will send you coupons. I know, like I said, you might get a random 50% off, 40% off, 30. I'm saying randomly here. Thank you for writing that comment. Here's 50% off.
Yeah.
Like, whoa, that.
Yeah, they're like, what?
I don't do that on Instagram. I do that on Facebook.
Yeah.
So.
Awesome. Well, thank you again, Gary. Thank you to everybody who watched. Be sure to tune in same time next week, 6 p.m. We'll be on, and be sure to check out our ambassador program, you guys, our brand ambassador program. It's linked in that description underneath the video. We've had a ton of brand ambassadors in the house on the show. Shout out to all of you guys. Thank you for being as supportive as you guys always are. We really, really appreciate it. And if you guys haven't checked it out already, you definitely want to click that link to see how you can utilize your social media to get bottles of e-juice. So thank you again for everyone who watched. And Gary, it's been such a pleasure speaking with you. It's been such an honor to speak to someone who really knows the ins and outs of the industry. So thank you, Gary. Thank you, everyone, and have a good night.
Thank you, guys. I appreciate it. You too. Thank you for having me on.